All right, we've got some dogs coming by over here. I'm Zach George. I'm a dog trainer. Meet my new project, Kona. I've got just 3 weeks to train her and set her up for the most well-behaved life possible. That means I need to work on the most common puppy issues like potty training, how to actually pay attention, stopping things like play biting, chewing, separation anxiety, getting along with other animals, leash walking, and teaching her everything a good dog needs to know. Real dog training doesn't always go smoothly, and that's why I'm going to show you every success and mistake and how I work through all the most challenging parts of raising a new puppy. Welcome to your new puppy survival guide. Today is absolutely huge for Kona. It's going to be her very first public training experience. Let's see what PupBox sent us this month. PupBox is an awesome product because they send you training supplies, treats, and toys based on your dog's specific age. One of the things that really separates PupBox is that they send you a training guide like this every single month so that you know what you should be working on. So we're gonna get some training treats. I know we're gonna need those. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some of those in here right now. This is an awesome ball. It actually lights up when it's dark. So you have these little stars, they go in the moon. Once she figures it out, dogs really love pulling those little squeaky toys out of the bigger toy there. So you can see she's immediately into that one. That's gonna be a lot of fun. A new toy can really jumpstart a new training session with your dog and get them super excited. And with young puppies, they need to teeth. So these teething rings are really good. So you'll find that getting a PupBox every month is really helpful for keeping your training extra interesting, not only for your dog, but for you too. And PupBox is gonna give everyone 50% off of your first PupBox when you sign up for a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. Go to pupbox.com/Zach and enter discount code Zach. The details will be in the description. So today is really a special training day for Kona. We are in public for the first time. This is a public park out here. This is going to be Kona's very first screensaver training lesson. We kind of coined these sessions screensaver sessions because it really just allows her to let the world go past her, let her observe things that she hasn't seen before, or maybe things that she's seen but isn't quite sure of. So there's a lot of value in these for young dogs. People tend to think of socializing their dog with people and other dogs, which is important for a young dog, but socializing them to places is extremely important, and sometimes that gets overlooked. Kona has gotten the clearance from her vet to go out in public, and just out of an abundance of caution, I'm taking her to this less populated park, which happens to be right behind our house, which is why I bought this house. It's a great place to train a dog. This path right here I find to be very valuable for introducing a new dog to the world because you have a steady stream of walkers, you get some dogs here and there, you get bicycles. Of course, you have all of the smells coming off of Lake Pontchartrain, which is actually quite nice, believe it or not. Well, most of the time anyway. Now there's a bike coming by over here. It looks like it's got her attention. So I'm just gonna let her check it out. Hopefully she'll react well. Look at that, oh yeah, how about that? Good job. And see, there's an exposure. She got to see something go by that she hasn't seen before. She reacted well. Kona! Yes, good girl! Nice, and again, in public, I'm gonna reinforce that recall when she comes to me. I mean, as close to 100% as possible. It's such a vital skill. Kona! Good girl, come. What? I feel like I just hit a grand slam right there. She saw those bikes. I don't know if you could see her glancing at it. I noticed she looked at me, so I'm like, I'm gonna try and get a free come when called here while she's mildly distracted by this new thing. So come when called, already looking good. I mean, I wasn't going to insist that she come to me when I call her in this new place, but since she's doing so well, why not? Nice job, girl. Kona, come on. Nice. Kona. Yes, good girl. Fantastic. A+ so far. All right, we've got some dogs coming by over here. So she's gonna get some good exposure to dogs she hasn't seen before, and they're gonna walk by. I'm not gonna let her socialize with them right now, but dogs don't have to interact with one another to gain some socializing experience, so. See how she's a lot more interested in the dogs than the treat here? See, I can't even give her a treat because she's like, whoa, those are interesting. Hi, how are you? Nice dogs. I know. So I'm just, Here, I'm just happy to let her bark and acknowledge them. But I wanted to show you that she was not interested in a treat because something like a dog is super exciting to a puppy. And that's okay. I'm not going to insist that she be the perfect dog right now in this training lesson. Hey, what's this? Good, sit. Now I can get a sit, now I can get her attention. That's a really good example, by the way, of how dogs become more compliant the more distance there is between them and the thing they're interested in. So as the dogs got farther away, you saw that I was able to get her to be more compliant. That's normal. And of course, over time, your focus is to shrink that distance. But again, the point of today's lesson isn't to get strong obedience out of her. The point of today's lesson is to say, hey, there's a planet out here that you might want to check out. There's some things you need to know about it. So that's what we're hoping to make a dent in. We have a dog coming up over here. So if she seems receptive to it, I'm going to try and ask for some basic attention, like a look at me. And if I can do that, I'm gonna reinforce it with a treat, because ultimately, getting your dog's attention around other dogs is one of the tougher things. Yes, kissy sound was successful in getting her attention. Nice job, girl. Yes, good girl. I'm just giving her small bits of treat here. Hi, how are you? Well, I'm doing some training with her right now, so I'm afraid she's gonna lose her mind. So thank you for offering those, really nice. You know, there's a time and a place for everything, and right now we're focused more on general exposure. So, by the way, you notice how she just has been sitting here the whole time? Yes, good girl, very good. There's a time to socialize a dog with other dogs, and there's a time to say, hey, we're not gonna go up to every dog we see. And so I guess my instinct there was, I don't wanna set a precedent of, oh, you see a dog, we're gonna go and play with that dog. I want her to know that, look, sometimes dogs go by and they just go. Oh, here come the dogs again. These are the two dogs she saw last time. So here we're a little bit farther away. Maybe we'll get more polite behavior out of her. Again, this really underscores how important distance is when you're trying to teach your dog to behave acceptably. And even if she does bark here, it's okay. But she's behaving well, yes. You want this? See that? Isn't that funny? It took a second for her to take the treat because she was so fixated on the dogs. It's okay, you can look at the puppies. Oh, what well-behaved dogs, by the way, huh? Look at them. They're checking her out. Yes, good girl. So you can see what I mean by screensaver dog training here, right? I mean, you get the occasional distraction coming by, the occasional dogs, you have the waves and the smells in the background, but we're not overwhelming her or inundating her with every distraction in the world. It's just, hey, here's a little slice of the world. What do you think? Oh, here comes the bike again. Hey, what's up? Nice job, girl. Yeah, good. And so really, I'm not really focused on training her. Even though I'm giving her a treat, I'm more just trying to condition her that, hey, that thing came by, you were good, you got something you like. I'm just trying to chip away and seal in those more desired behaviors where I can, when they happen organically like that. That's why we've got to get out in the real world and we've got to train with our dogs. But you can do this just about anywhere. I mean, you know, look around your own community, what makes sense? Surely you can find a bench at a park. Or even if you live in a big city, you can go off the beaten path and let your dog observe all of the activity at a reasonable distance. So you might have noticed the lake right here. Let's go give her a closer look at that and see what she makes of it. Experiencing the sound of the waves and looking at them up close is likely to have some value. Okay, we have a jogger coming by. Let's let her observe the jogger. Dogs are generally attracted to people running more than they are walking. Yes, Kona. Ha. Kona, come on. You're making me look too good here. We have a dog training series to do. Give me something to train you. Come on. I'm not really focused on leash manners right now, remember? Now imagine what this might look like to a dog as this big body of water tends to fill their vision as they approach it. I mean, you can see she's even being a little guarded as we get close. It can be daunting. I mean, even to a person, it's like, man, that's a lot of water. Kona, come on. Oh, look at that. Now see, unexpected. I thought she might have walked up a little bit more enthusiastically, but she's like, let me check that out for a minute. There are the bikes, good girl. See that? Bikes passed at close range. Yes, come on. Here. Okay. Remember, the environment counts as reinforcement too, if that's what your dog is interested in at that particular moment. And so there's recently been water up here, so a lot of different smells from the water have washed up. But now look at her, she's like, wait a minute. She's noticed the waves. She's decided to wrap herself up in a leash and bite her tail as a consequence. What are you doing? Let's see what she wants to do. Look at that. What do you think? Isn't that interesting? Screensaver training. It's like meditation, only better. On a session like this, it's a fine line between enforcing leave it and just letting them smell and explore. But right now, the emphasis is definitely on exploring. But let's get her away from this stuff here. I think it's a good opportunity as well, since we're out here, to put some movement to the screensaver. Maybe we can walk around a little bit since we're on the lead. Again, this is more of a free walk than anything. You'll recall that a free walk is just letting your dog walk on their own terms, provided they're safe and on a long lead like this, of course. That's opposed to a training walk, which has a bit more structure to it, where we keep our dog a lot closer to us. Kona! Come on. Yeah! Good girl! Woo! Hey, I'm over here. I think she forgot about me halfway through. But I mean, you just look at her. You can see she's like, oh, I want to see what this is. I want to see what that is. Good work. Good girl. Yes! When she checks in with me like that, or when she gives me any attention voluntarily, I want to reinforce that by giving her a treat. As long as she's taking them and she's like, cool, I'll take that, I'm happy to give it to her. That'll make future training a little bit easier as well. So here, Kona's just like, hey, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna lie down and appreciate these waves and this person exercising. Let's see if she'll come to me. Kona, come on, come on. No? See that? See how she didn't come because she's really distracted. Hi, good morning. Kona, don't. Good girl. I really wanted to get that out of her there. Did you see how she didn't pay attention to me as the woman was getting closer? But then again, as the distance reached a certain point, Kona's like, all right, I'll pay attention to you. Now, over time, we of course want to minimize those instances and teach her to listen to us no matter how close something is, but one step at a time. Okay, Kona has had some time to adjust and take everything in, so I think we can practice some basic training while in this screensaver environment now. I have to be pretty flexible on today's lesson. I don't know what I'm going to get out of her. I don't know what her attention is going to be like. There are 5 things that I want to go over today that I really like to make sure that every new pet parent really understands when it comes to training a dog, because they're not always that obvious. Probably the first thing that I tell anyone new to training a dog is keep your expectations realistic. It's normal not to know how long it takes to get a dog up to speed and how to get them trained and everything. Depending on how far you want to take your training with your dog, it can take a good couple of years to really get them to understand everything you want them to listen to in a broad variety of contexts and settings. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get amazing results in just a few weeks and really start to get them understanding you, but it probably will take longer than you're originally thinking to get your dog trained. And I tell you this because I really want your mindset to be the most patient possible. In other words, you'll probably find that the slower you go with training your dog, the more methodical you are, the better results you're going to get long term. So right now you might notice that she's a little distracted. She's chewing on the grass and I'm calling her periodically. I'm really focused on getting rough drafts of all of her basic skills in a variety of circumstances. Kona, come! Good girl, yeah! I mean, that's a good example. It wasn't a perfect come when called, but she did come to me, so it's kind of a rough draft version. You see what I mean? Focus on really refining those skills over time. Kona! Yes! Good girl! You can see we have a long 50-foot lead just to keep extra good control of her and give her a reasonable amount of freedom to explore this new place too. That was really good. I love that she came to me in this public environment. That's always a good sign. Puppies are living, thinking beings, so don't expect linear progress either with them. In other words, they might really be excelling on a particular skill, but then all of a sudden, well, they start not doing as well on that skill as they once were. Potty training is a good example of this. It's normal for a puppy to, say, have a few consecutive days of success, and then they might have accidents a few days in a row. That's all normal. So when that happens, be prepared to take a step back and repair the skill and walk them through the steps a little more thoroughly so they have a better understanding of how you want them to behave. Now, with a puppy, it can often be tempting to get frustrated with them when they're not behaving how we want them to behave. And I notice a lot of people fall into the trap of blaming their dog rather than taking accountability and saying, you know, maybe I could do something a little bit better, or maybe I could break this down into smaller steps to help them understand. So really avoid falling into the trap of blaming your dog when they don't behave how you want them to behave. This is one of my golden rules when it comes to training dogs. Dogs learn best after exercise. See, when a dog is able to get their energy out, especially if it's in a structured way like fetch or even a long walk, they seem to be much more primed to absorb new concepts. So it's a really good idea to exercise your dog before training them something new, you know, especially things like leash walking or being calm in an exciting environment. So that's why I'll have an emphasis on exercising her and teaching her fetch, because I think it really will accelerate her training progress overall. Now, she's not perfect at fetch yet, but let's see how she does with fetch training. And again, I'm trying to keep my expectations realistic here. I'm not expecting a perfect fetch. I don't even care if she ignores it, but I just want to do some testing and see what this individual dog is like. So you can see squeaking it there. She looked at it, but she's like, I want to go smell around instead. Let's see, maybe she wants to play with this toy. Go get it. Nice. Come on, Coda. Good girl, yeah. Good, let's give her a little tug because she likes that. Remember, you don't want to just take the toy from your dog when you're playing fetch with them. You want to give them some enjoyment. Ah, there we go, go get it. If you've got an energetic dog, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. In fact, that probably means they're a very well-bred dog with fantastic genetics. I mean, remember, we selected for dogs that had endless stamina, energy, and endurance over the last several centuries. Now, many of us don't necessarily have a need for all of that energy, but we still have to meet those genetic needs. So especially those of you with higher energy dogs, have a strong focus on creating structured ways to release that energy, preferably early in the day so that you can have a more sane day. And I think you'll be very happy with the results that you get over time. So far, plan A is working very well. I'm getting come when called, I'm getting some basic fetch out of her. And the reason I'm so thrilled and surprised is because I am in a new place, and I know from experience that the fastest way to cause a dog to be thrown off or act uncharacteristically or stop paying attention to you is to change their surroundings. We've done so in dramatic fashion here, and she's really adjusting and adapting very well. Kona, here, come. Come here, wet nose, sit. Good, nice. Ah, that's great. That's so good. The fact that she is being this attentive in this environment. I mean, Inertia wasn't this attentive in this environment. Next, be flexible. Your training plan is rarely going to go exactly as you intend it to go. So you have to be prepared to make adjustments on the fly when you're training a dog and be able to work with them. Maybe you had a plan to go into the city and take a walk with them, but you see that they're barking and they're overwhelmed. Well, it might be a better job to sit off to the side and do a screensaver training lesson like we're doing today and just let them observe things from a more acceptable distance where they don't feel as overwhelmed. There are a million examples of ways that you'll need to adjust your training expectations as time goes on. Just understand that that is completely normal and build that into your training strategy overall. Oh, real life, leave it. See this? Leave it. Look at me. Here. Yes, good girl. We talked about dropping a treat and saying leave it like that. As I've said before, just because a dog leaves a treat alone doesn't mean they're going to leave everything alone in the natural environment. So you're going to encounter things like garbage where they're like, oh, I don't think I have to leave that alone. I just have to leave the treat alone when I'm asked. So it's a good opportunity to stop and really zoom in on those things and practice leave it when the opportunity presents itself like that. Kona, come. Yes, okay. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead on that one. So there, I was able to get a reluctant leave it and get her to come to me as I called her, and she ran past the debris there. So good job, girl. Let's see how she's doing on sit and down and things like that that we've been working on. And let's see if she's able to do them out here. Ready? Sit. Yes, gotta sit there. Okay, good. Let's try again. Let's do a sit. And how about a lie down? Really good. And on a windy day on top of that. Wind makes things challenging very often because of all the scents that are coming off the water and everything else. Remember, dogs really experience the world through scent in a way that we just can't fathom or completely understand. Sit. Down. Yes. Okay, good girl. That was a nice lightweight training session for Kona. Now we're back in the house and we're gonna let Kona and Inertia duke it out and play a little rough right now. But their play just continues to get more and more confident every day. You remember Kona was initially very reserved with Inertia, and now Inertia's met her match, I think. But it's important for Kona to get this physical activity with another dog. I mean, this is how dogs learn so much about one another, their social cues and how to use the appropriate amount of force when playing. So, I mean, you can see she's biting on her collar right there. Inertia will probably let her know, hey, don't bite me that hard. Well, the thing about Inertia is she's so super tolerant. But Inertia likes to put Kona in her place in her own way. All right, so the next thing I have planned for us training-wise today is to teach Kona how to do the stairs. This is something I get a lot of requests for. I think it's a good way for her to learn how to use her body. She's going to encounter stairs many times in her life, so why not get started now? But just to establish, Kona! If I say, Kona! Like you can see, she appears to want to come up, but she's like, wait a minute, I don't know how to get up those things. Good girl, very good. So, I love the metaphor of teaching a dog to go upstairs. It's one step at a time. So let's see if we can get her on this one stair. Good job, right? You gotta do one stair before you can do two. Here, get it. Good, yes! Did you see that? Beyond the mechanics, you're teaching your dog how to be more confident and how to encounter this world with a little more optimism, perhaps. Yes, good, you see that? That's good, I'm gonna actually get over here behind her. Come here. Yeah, good girl. So hey, pretty good start. You can see it's a little awkward for her. Yes, look at that. I'm just luring her here. Yes, good girl. And I'm gonna make sure I'm here to protect her in the event that she slips or gets uncertain. It might seem silly, but it really is important to be extra safe when it comes to teaching your dog how to do stairs. Yes, she did it. Good girl, very good. And so we're gonna encourage her to go, yes, good. Just giving her a spot there. Yes, good girl. Very good. And so you gotta love that. I mean, her confidence is so strong. Good work. All right, I think she's ready to go higher. I hadn't really intended to have her go up the entire staircase, but she seems to really be catching on, so I don't see why we wouldn't keep going. Yeah, look at this. See, once they get it very often. Come on. Kona. Wow, okay, I didn't expect it to go this quickly. She's doing great. Kona! Oh, okay, there she goes. And you can see how she's being awkward. Okay, oh boy, I have awoken the sleeping dragon. Can you make it all the way to the top? Kona! Yes, come on, let's go. She's thinking, she's like, all right, how do I move my legs to do this? Ta-da! Good job, girl. Look at her. Nice. Yeah, good girl. You did it. Good job. Wonderful. But again, I do want to emphasize, that's why this is going to be important, because we don't want her having access to this staircase unsupervised. Certainly not in her time with me. If your puppy seems a little more nervous than Kona is, that's totally fine. Be content with them just looking at the stair or just going up one stair or even two stairs or something like that. Kona's progress is really accelerating. I'm so proud of her. And for the rest of you, get 50% off your first pup box when you use discount code ZACH at pupbox.com/ZACH. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and get both of my books too. We'll see you guys in the next video.